Hey everybody, Chef Britt here with atbbq.com, and today we are making banana pudding. All right, so banana pudding is one of those things that you can find at any barbecue pit stop all over the country, so I wanted to give you my take on it. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, my background is in baking and pastry, so this is where I've got some cool techniques to show you. Let's hop in. So to make the pastry cream or vanilla pudding, we're gonna start with 24 ounces of milk in a non-reactive medium pot. We're also going to create a slurry, and so we're going to start with 6 ounces of white sugar, about 1 ounce of cornstarch. Now you can use any kind of cornstarch you have, whether it's tapioca or potato. They'll end up giving you slightly different textures, but they all function very similarly. So we're going to cut all of that starch into the sugar and get it evenly dispersed, and that's going to help the pastry cream from clumping up in the end. All right, from here I'm going to add about 10% of the milk just to get it moistened and slackened up before we start adding our eggs into our slurry mixture. Next we'll add 4 eggs, preferably large. And we'll get those mixed in there. So the eggs are going to give us great flavor, but they're also going to give us great color that we know out of vanilla pudding. All right, so I'm just going to add a heavy pinch of some Jacobsen kosher sea salt and about a teaspoon of vanilla extract. All right, and now before we get the cooking process started, I'm gonna go ahead and line a half sheet pan with cling film and put aside an ounce of unsalted butter as a final addition. So we're just gonna get this boiling process going. So just when it starts to come up to a boil, we're gonna start tempering. So we're just gonna add slowly into our slurry mixture, and we're gonna try not to scramble our eggs. So once we've got most of our milk mixture in our slurry, we're ready to move it back all onto the pot. Now we're going to fire it up to about a medium level of heat and whisk the entire time. So we're constantly whisking to keep the cornstarch from settling at the bottom and clumping up that way. But once the foam starts to recede, you know you're getting pretty close to whatever thickness you like. I'm going to go for just a little bit more thickness. Now it should be hot enough to be bubbling, but because I'm constantly stirring it, you're not really seeing that. But we're pretty much there at this point. So now just to finish, I'm going to add my softened butter and get that fully melted. And then we'll get it poured onto our sheet pan, and this is just going to allow it to cool quickly in this sort of short, even layer. Okay, now we're gonna just let that pastry cream cool. In the meantime, we're gonna get our caramelized banana filling made. So we're gonna start with 2 ounces of this Noble Saltworks smoked maple turbinado. I'm gonna just get it in a nice even layer here. And I'm going to crank up the heat. All right, and if you want to aid things along, you can add a tablespoon or 2 of water. And while that gets going, I'm going to slice up some bananas. These ones are perfectly ripe. So we're starting to get some caramelization happening. Let's even it out a little bit. And then we'll get our bananas in there. I'm also going to add a little pinch of salt just to ramp up all of those sweet flavors. And we're looking to really soften these bananas in our caramel mixture. Now we're going to deglaze the pan with a couple ounces of spiced rum. You could also use banana liqueur, whatever you like. Looking very rich and delicious. And then we're going to finish with some unsalted butter. Don't worry if the bananas start to look like mush. That's okay. They're really just exposing all of their delicious sweetness and flavor. So once all of the butter is melted, we're pretty much ready to pull this off the heat. Look at that. That's just freaking delicious. We're going to cover that and allow it to cool down. All right, so now that we have the base for our banana pudding made, let's get into the banana bread recipe. Now, I'm kind of running away with the idea that banana pudding is like a trifle. Normally people are layering cookies in there. Today I wanted to share with you my amazing banana bread recipe. This has helped me out through my career as a pastry chef, and it's loved by everybody. And I make it very frequently with my daughter, so let me show you how I do it. So the basic idea is that we're going to be putting all of our wet ingredients in one bowl and all of our dry ingredients in another bowl. So the first thing that we need to do is sort of liquefy our bananas. Now, try and use as ripe as you can get. Black bananas are ideal for this situation. They just have more flavor as they've sat and sort of fermented in their skins. So now we're going to add our sugar, which on the surface you may think, well, that's a dry ingredient. Well, this is actually hygroscopic, which means that it's going to pull the moisture out of the bananas and liquefy it. To get the process going, I'm going to use the Braun immersion blender and just get it all blended up. Now we're going to get the remainder of our liquid ingredients. I'm going to start with a 1/4 cup of this Zinger's cinnamon infused honey. Now you can use any kind of honey, but this is just a great opportunity to use the cinnamon infused honey. Get every last drop there. We'll do a teaspoon of vanilla extract. We're also going to do 3 eggs. We'll blend it all up. So now for our dry ingredients, I've got 2 cups of all-purpose flour. I've got 1½ teaspoons of baking soda, and then I'm going to do about a teaspoon of Jacobsen kosher sea salt. And we'll just get that well blended. And then all at once, we're going to just add it into our batter. And we're going for a nice smooth batter here. So that's enough batter for 2 loaf pans. So let's go ahead and get these prepped up. So So I'm going to take one piece of parchment here and I'm going to cut it in half. Then I'm going to spray my pans just to get a nice coating in there, and then we'll set these right in. And a little bit of overhang is great. That's going to help us pull out the loaf. Now I'm going to just evenly disperse my batter, probably about halfway up the sides of the pan. All right, let's head out to the grill. All right, so today we're going to be working on the Yoder Smoker's YS640S pellet grill. I've got it set to 350 degrees and stocked full of pecan pellets. Let's get them on. All right, so I think ideal placement is going to be on the top shelf here. We'll let those go for an hour. So I checked on this at an hour and it needed just a little more time, about 15-20 minutes. So let's see where it's at now. I'm going to just kind of get in there and see if I can get a clean pull out. Perfect. Great. These are ready to get out. So we're gonna allow these to cool before we try and release them from the pans. It's been about 10 minutes now. So beautiful. Perfect. All right, so we're going to just use one of these loaves. So lucky you, you've got an extra loaf, but I just kind of want to show you how it's looking. We're going to cut this up into cubes. Oh, the smell is incredible. All right, so we've got all of our components made, including some whipped cream that I did behind the scenes. So now we're just gonna put it all together, and I think I'm gonna play around with it a little bit today, so we'll see. So I've got all my pastry cream that's set up very nicely, so we're just going to soften it up. Very nice. Now I'm going to soften up my caramelized banana filling as well, and we're going to fold some of this into our pastry cream. So we'll add it right in there. And you can kind of mix this up as much as you like or as little as you like. It just kind of depends. So I'm going to take the rest of this caramelized banana filling and just spread a little layer on the bottom. Now that's going to create a really great layer for my banana bread to stick to. So we'll just get a nice even layer dispersed. All right, so I've got half of my banana bread right there. I'm gonna put about half of my pastry cream that now has all of this wonderful banana, caramelized turbinado sugar on there. We're just gonna spread a nice little even layer, get it into those crevices. Now we're going for another layer of cake. All right, I'm just gonna kind of smush them in there to get them a little more settled. Now for the final layer of pastry cream. Don't worry if you can't get every single crevice covered. We'll tap it out. We'll put a layer of whipped cream on top. It's gonna be perfect. Now for some perfectly whipped cream. This is not Cool Whip for those who are wondering. Although if that's what you like, that's what you like. I'm gonna go for some longer, biased, more elegant cuts here. So using my smoked maple turbinado, I'm just gonna put a little bit of sugar on the surface of each of these banana slices, and then we'll hit it with a torch. So you'll want to let those caramelized bananas cool a little bit before you handle them. We're just going to decorate the edge. Let's get in here. Let's forget all of our troubles and eat some banana pudding. Oh my goodness, she's thick. I need a good landing ground. Yeah, I think ideally you'd want this to set up in the fridge a little bit, but we're kind of just going right for it. I know I'm gonna like this more than honey garlic ribs. Can you bleep out my expletives that are about to come out of my mouth? I'll see you guys later. Do I have to tell you how amazing it is? Can you just trust me? Like, do you need anything else in this world other than banana pudding right now? No. Well, that's the banana pudding that you want to make if you want to forget about all of the world's troubles. If you guys want to check out more recipes that bring you so much comfort, head on over to atbbq.com/thesauce. And if you want to see more of the products that we use today, head on over to atbbq.com. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.